Hey everyone, Classic Gengar here, and here's a slightly modified Sand team that I did. And let's get right into the battle. This battle's against Tunichi. I don't know how to say his name. Anyways, so I'm going to Suicide lead here with my Mamoswine, and he starts with his Machamp. This Machamp really gives me some problems during this match, but it was a good battle. So I outspeed, and I'm going to get my rocks up first thing. That's the whole reason why I lead Mamoswine. And he's just going to wreck me with a Dynamic Punch. Brings me down to my Sturdy. And I see that he has a Landorus, so Mamoswine can be useful. So next turn, I'm just going to swap out. And I am going to bring in my Hippowdon. Now, Hippowdon is automatically kind of defensively bulky. So I know he could take this rather well. But he gets a critical hit with his Dynamic Punch. So that kind of pretty much spells the end for my Hippowdon. So he's going to get an Ice Punch off on me, and it does a fair amount of damage. And I'm just going to go for Toxic, because I feel like status on this no guard Machamp is probably my best bet, considering my team's not particularly quick, and I don't really have anything that hits this guy for super effective damage. So thankfully, I don't get confused, and I get the Toxic off on him. So he's going to start taking Toxic and Sandstorm damage, which is good for me. Not as good for him, but he has leftovers, so it's going to be an uphill battle at this point, considering I've already lost 2 Mons of this thing, basically. So this next turn, I'm just going to let Hippowdon go down. I have nothing that really wants to swap into an Ice Punch. At best case scenario, it hits someone on my team neutrally, and none of my guys are really that defensive. So he takes down Hippowdon, and I'm going to bring in my Mega Garchomp. So Mega Garchomp comes in, and I'm going to click Mega Evolve, and this is where I kind of messed up. I misinterpreted the Sandforce ability as if it increased the power of all of the attacks, not just the ground, rock, and steel types. So if I would have actually clicked Earthquake there, I would have done more damage and killed him, took him out. Looking back, I should have done Earthquake to begin with because it has a higher base damage than Dragon Claw. But I didn't want him to like swap into a Landorus or anything. But so he easily took out my Mega Garchomp, and that really sucked. Anyways, so I'm gonna bring in my Scarfed Moxie Crocodile as he's going to bring in his Landers and get an Intimidate off. And I just was under the impression that he'd let his Machamp go down and be an easy Moxie boost for me, but the opponent, he's not that bad of a player, so he didn't see the Intimidate, so he knew that it was Moxie. And so the Sand goes away. I'm predicting he's going to go for his Rock, so I'm going to bring in my Mamoswine to either scare this thing out or to get an Ice Shard and do a lot of damage. So he gets his rocks up, which is kind of a pain, but is better than attacking me and taking me out. So he brings in his Mega Slowbro, and I can't really hit this thing very hard. I figured it was a Mega. It was the only Pokemon on his team that could have been a Mega, and I knew that knockoff wouldn't do enough damage, so I just went for Stab Earthquake. And it does, moderately decent damage, considering this thing's probably really defensive, but it's not enough to even take him down to half. So I'll let Mamoswine go down. He couldn't get swapped out because of rocks, and I didn't really want to waste a turn rapid spinning with my Excadrill to get rid of them. So I'm just going to bring in my Nidoking here, and I'm going to go for a Life Orb, Sheer Force, Stab, Sludge Wave, and that easily takes down the Slowbro. Like, I've never seen a Mega Slowbro's health go down that quickly. So, and he's going to bring in his Heatran. And at this point in the battle, I was talking with my wife, and I accidentally misclicked here, and I went for Sludge Wave again. And I realized this thing was scarfed, and I barely live. Like, just barely. And I was like, damn. Well, Nidoking's down, but he actually thinks that I'm Choice Specs, so he swaps in his Jirachi, probably to set up or something, and I take it out in 1 Earth Power. So that caught him off guard. I actually talked to him after the battle, and he did think that I was Specs, so he swapped in thinking he could either set up or something. But that's not the case. I just was really stupid and wasn't paying attention and misclicked. So he brings in his Heatran, and he's just going to take me out with an HP Ice. So Nidoking's down, and I'm like, well, Nidoking can't I mean, HP Ice is not going to do very much to Excadrill. Like, it might, but I'll definitely be able to take it out. So he's actually just going to swap into his Landorus. And I figured this was coming, but I didn't want to risk it not happening. And an Iron Head would have been quad resisted, so I felt like it was the safer play. I probably should have done a Rock Slide, but you live, you learn. I go for Iron Head, and it does a decent amount considering I'm at -1. But, he actually goes for the Earthquake, and he either wasn't paying attention or he forgot that I was Air Balloon, so it's really bad for him. So I'm going to be able to take down the Machamp with an Iron Head, and that's that pain in the ass out of the way. And then he's going to bring back his Scarfed Heatran. This thing has been a true pain in my butt this whole battle. I really wish I wouldn't have misclicked, because this thing would have been taken care of a long time ago. So he goes for his Choice Scarfed Overheat, and that's going to easily be enough to destroy my Excadrill. So Excadrill's down, he's at -2 special attack, and he's scarfed into his attack. So I know he's going to have to swap out. So I'm down to my Crocodile. It's my last mon, and I've got the answer for this. So he actually brings in his Landorus, thinking that he could get an Intimidate off, but unfortunately for him, he goes down for two rocks before the Intimidate can get off. So no negative attack for me. That really would have been bad if he would have survived the rocks, because I don't know if I could have won this battle. So he brings in his Chansey. I'm locked into Superpower. It's both of his remaining mons are weak to it, and it does a crap ton. It doesn't OHKO it, which is fine. I figured it wouldn't. Even like the Eviolite really did matter there. So I take, 50 damage, and then I'm going to get to -2 and then back up to -1. So thanks to Moxie. Now Moxie really did help me out this battle. If I wasn't Moxie, I probably wouldn't have had enough strength to take down the Heatran. So he's forced to bring out his Heatran. It takes more rock damage, and I'm just going to go for Superpower, and I'm going to finish this match. This was a really close battle. It really shouldn't have been this close, honestly, if I wouldn't have misclicked. I think I misclicked a couple times, but mainly the Sludge Wave on the Heatran misclicked screwed me up. Alright guys, it was a great battle. Hope you guys enjoy. If you want to join the league, link